Finally, the Aquaman reviews are in. And at long last, we finally know what the critics think of it. Did they love it like Wonder Woman, or did they absolutely hate it like Batman vs. Superman? I bet we're still not going to get any good reasons either way. But let's go ahead and look at Rotten Tomatoes and see the score and read some reviews and see what these critics are thinking.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
And I personally don't give a fuck about what the critics say, honestly. I'm seeing this movie no matter what, because I'm a DC fan, and Aquaman's a movie I've been looking forward to. The comics have been really good recently for Aquaman, so yeah, I definitely want to see the movie. No critic's going to stop me from seeing it, but let's just go ahead and see what the tomato meter's at, because as we all know, depending on what that tomato meter score is, that determines whether or not the movie will make more money, because a lot of people are not that bright and they just go off the score anyway. But let's go ahead and look at the score. And the tomato meter is sitting at a 76% for Aquaman. The critic consensus: Aquaman swims with its entertainingly ludicrous tide, offering up CGI superhero spectacle that delivers energetic action with an emphasis on good old-fashioned fun.
What is fun?
That is the most generic consensus I've ever heard. You could have replaced Aquaman with Thor Ragnarok, and it would have been the same consensus. Get rid of the fucking water puns. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of water puns as we go through this. But this is good right now. I'll just let everybody know right now, there's only 62 critic reviews, and we're not going to read through all of them, just a couple of them that I found funny. But yeah, there's only 62 reviews. That means that this tomato meter is going to change. It's either going to go up or down depending on that opening weekend. I'm sure as, audience scores come in and, the audience gets to see it and the audience really likes the film, that's when we're going to see more critics come around and say, oh yeah, it's really good. I was saying it was good the whole time.
Harumph, 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 harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph. Harumph!
You watch your ass.
Those kind of people, right? Because critics really, they don't have a mind of their own. I mean, they're just going to go off whatever they think the audience wants, whatever they think is going to make the audience happy, whatever they think their readers are going to like to read. That's the review they're going to make, right? And with DC movies, you get way more clicks if you have a negative or sarcastic ass review for a DC film. You'll just get way more clicks that way. But yeah, there's only 62 reviews. That's going to change. There should be about closer to 300 reviews when this is all done. And, it's been in theaters and stuff like that. So we'll know the final tomato meter score probably a week after Aquaman comes out. That's going to be the final score for the movie, really. So it could stay in the 70s. It could dip down to the 60s, but it's probably not going to go below 60. And this is going to be a fresh movie. DC's second fresh movie. Fantastic. Maybe now we can get those drooling masses into the theaters, right? But let's just go ahead and read the first little review from Joshua Rothkopf from Time Out. I even know that publication. He's a top critic, but he says, Aquaman is more seawater than bond water. Oh, bond water.
Smells like somebody shit in their cereal. Bung. That was good.
But judging by his picture, I don't think he's ever even touched a bond, right? So that's funny he would ever use that, right? Aquaman is more seawater than bond water, unfortunately, but when it gets trippy, it floats within hailing distance of Doctor Strange. 3 out of 5.
Sorry guys, I can't give great reviews to every movie I see. This one's only getting 3 bags of popcorn.
I thought 3 out of 5 was a positive rating. Why is this getting a rotten score? What? Well, that's interesting. He compares it to Doctor Strange because it's trippy and it's more seawater than bond water. Really insightful stuff here from Joshua. I'm sure he probably has, 5 years of film school that gives him all this insight into movies. So you know what he's talking about. I'm just really glad he was able to come up with a bond water reference. Next review from Johnny Olaski.
Made up names.
New York Post. Another top critic, another critic that needs to change his last name, because who the fuck is ever going to pronounce that right? Johnny, no one cares about you that much to pronounce your last name, all right? Switch it up here, all right? But he has to say, it's just H2OK.
Ha ha!
All right, I'm really confused here. The last one was like a 3 out of 5. It was rotten. This is 2.5 out of 4. This is fresh. I'm a little confused.
Has the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
We're 2 reviews in here, and already we have a bunch of water jokes. You know, critics, they're so original. I mean, I'm surprised there's this smart and funny that they were able to come up with this many water jokes already. This is fantastic. Well, let's go to the next extravagant review. This one from Emily Yoshida, or Yoshida? I'm going to assume she's Japanese or something like that. She doesn't have a picture because she's not a professional. But she's a top critic, New York Magazine / Vulture. So I don't know what that means. I don't read any of these publications because nobody reads these publications anymore. No one gives a fuck about these publications. But anyway, let's read what she has to say. Aquaman's as formulaic, extensively thrashy, and mommy-obsessed as any other entry in the DCEU.
Make like a tree and fuck off.
But its visual imagination is genuinely exciting and transportive? What the fuck does that even mean? Is this transporting you somewhere? What? And I dare say fun.
Dare.
And another review, another water pun, extensively thrashy. You know, these critics... they love their water puns, you know. They couldn't wait till Aquaman came out to read out some fucking water puns. This is fantastic stuff here. Really insightful, thought-provoking statements from these critics so far. Let's go on to the next one. Another top critic from the AV Club, Ignacy Vishnesky.
Made up names.
What the fuck are these names? Are these people? That seems like someone just fucking like fell on their keyboard and that's what their name is. You just gotta realize when you have a bad name, you just gotta change that up, you know? But what does he have to say? Aquaman needs its smirking, beer-loving, roadie-loving, Chippendale-chested hero. I assume he's talking about Jason Momoa. Or he's talking about some gay porn or something, I don't know. Not to save the day, but to remind us that this stuff is about as goofy as it gets. Wow.
What the fuck is this?
Did he even bother to reread what he wrote? You know, that stuff is about as goofy as it gets. Dude, when you're in Microsoft Word and you have your green lines underneath the sentence, that means something's wrong, you know? Don't just leave it like that. Fix your sentence. Like, how does this get past him? You know, how do you write this and just completely fucking not read it at all? Oh my god. But I gotta admit, not a water pun, and he gave it a B-, so it's a positive score. You know, most of these are positive, but they all sound fucking negative. Isn't that funny?
Huh? Let's be honest. Okay. I mean, let us be fucking honest. This is a crucifixion. This is political. And don't tell me it's not.
Isn't that funny that all of them sound negative, but they have positive scores? It's almost like they have an agenda. It's almost like they want to implant the idea into the audience that this movie is a dumb, fun film. And it's not to be taken seriously. And it's not a good film. That's essentially what they're trying to implant in everyone's heads right now. They're trying desperately because Aquaman's already opened big in China. It almost made $100 million on its opening weekend. It's going to open in the UK shortly, and then it's going to come to America. So the whole world's going to get to see this movie, really, before America. So a lot of people are going to be able to see this movie before America, and word of mouth is going to travel over the internet, right? So they already have to fight to implant the idea into the audience that there is something wrong with this movie, right? If the Chinese like it, there has to be something wrong. Those communists, there has to be something wrong with this movie, right? But let's go on to the next one. And another top critic, Kenneth Turan. I thought Turan was a country, but I guess it's his last name. Los Angeles Times. Oh, that's another publication I don't read, huh? But he says, notwithstanding the inevitable formulaic dialogue and a superabundance of boilerplate superhero action sequences.
Everybody loves my vocabulary.
No, well,
I have some of the best syllables.
All All right, what does that even fucking mean? Boilerplate superhero action sequences. Does that even mean anything? Aquaman turns out to be almost despite itself an engaging undersea extravaganza. Fresh score. See, well, at least he ended it positive. He gave it a bunch of backhanded compliments, but at least he fucking ended positive. Good on ya, Kenneth Turan. But let's get to everyone's favorite critic, Scott Mendelson from Forbes. Everyone's favorite pedophile-looking critic. He says, it's 20,000 leagues over the top. 7 out of 10. I guarantee he came up with that title months ago. And he's been waiting for his review so he could use that line. He's making a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea reference, a movie very few people have seen. Definitely none of his dumbass readers have actually seen. There's no way his audience has seen that movie. So he's making a joke that no one's gonna get. Oh my god. But you know, once again, some rich, thought-provoking statements from these critics. But on to the next one. From everyone's favorite tool at Screen Junkies, Dan Merle. A guy who's never had an original thought in his life. And he says, Aquaman wasn't for me, but I admire a lot about this movie. But I'm going to give it a negative score because it's not for me.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
What is with these? Like, if it's not for you, then why give it a, rotten score, you know? What the fuck? If it's not for you, that's just you. Now, what about the movie is bad? Like, what technically is wrong with the movie, right? If it wasn't for you, that's fine. No one gives a fuck what you think. We want to know what the movie was like. And he's always been against DC films, so of course this wasn't going to be for him, right? It's so ridiculous. But, yeah, it kind of just goes on like that. A lot of reviews are like this. There's a couple positive ones, like this one. This one's positive from Hey You Guys. I mean, it's kind of positive. Linda Marek. God damn, I hate these last names. Okay. She has a positive score, and she says, a star turned from Momoa, who leads this ridiculousness of this anarchic. I don't even know. I don't even know what that fucking word means.
Well, I have some of the best syllables.
Campy superhero, outdated with some serious energy and charm. Another promising move for the DCEU. 4 out of 5. What was the first promising move? Justice League? Was that the first promising move? Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my god. But, that's positive, I guess, That's like the most positive review you're going to see for Aquaman right now. It's really ridiculous right now. But let me read one more negative one because I think it's hysterical. It's another top critic, Michael Phillips, who looks like another child molester.
It's a little late to be prowling around these parts, huh?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Why don't you have a seat right over here for me?
He's from the Chicago Tribune, and he says, watching this movie is like spending 2 hours and 27 minutes staring at a gigantic aquarium full of digital sea creatures and actors on wires, pretending to swim. 1.5 out of 4. And what's really funny about this comment is that the film is 2 hours and 23 minutes long. So he sat there an extra 4 minutes after the movie ended, before he realized the movie ended. So, he's a really insightful guy. He definitely knows what he's talking about. He definitely did all his research when it came to this film. It's like, how do you even get that detail, Ron? Like, it's on IMDb, the runtime of the movie. It's on Rotten Tomatoes, the runtime of the movie. How do you get that wrong? It blows my mind how a lot of these critics just don't read what they write at all. They just don't really care what they're writing. And, yeah, it really shows in all their comments. But, that's what the critic consensus is. That's what the critics are feeling about this film. Little shocking. It really felt like this was going to be another Wonder Woman situation where we were going to get like a 90-something on Rotten Tomatoes because everybody was really liking this film. There was a lot of people coming out of this film in China liking it a lot. There's actually a review on YouTube of some guy that lives in China, and he walked out of the theater and he's talking about how much he really likes the movie and how he thinks it's gonna do huge and stuff. There's another guy, that Big Mouth guy, on his channel. He said he saw it early. He says it's gonna be a big hit. It seems like everybody that watches this movie really likes it and thinks it's going to be a huge hit, except for these critics right now. And, it's just another DC movie, another day for a DC film, but, honestly, in all honesty, this is a great thing. I mean, no one should be upset or mad right now. If you're a DC, fan, if you're a Snyder fan, if you're just a fan of these DC movies in general, this is like the perfect case. This is a perfect scenario for Aquaman because essentially the critics don't like it, So, that just means it's going to drive an even deeper divide between the audience and the critics, because I have a really strong feeling that the audience is going to love Aquaman. They're going to love Aquaman. And they're going to really get pissed at the critics for saying all these backhanded, insults and shit like that. And, I mean, it's going to be great. Obviously, I prefer when a movie is split down the middle. I love when movies polarize the audience because that means you got an interesting film on your hands. It ain't just some generic run-of-the-mill thing. I mean, it's either going to make you love it or you're going to hate it. And that's what it looks like Aquaman is going to be. You're either going to love this movie or you're going to hate it. Or you're going to be like Dan Merle and it's not for you because nothing's for you because you're Dan Merle. But yeah, it feels like this is going to be a good film. I'm even more excited to see it now. Honestly, I'm more excited to see it now that it has like a 70-something than like if it had like a 90 or something like that. If it had like a 95, I would think there's something wrong. I would think that, it was like a trick or something, I would think the critics were trying to mislead the audience. And, they're still trying to do that right now. But, if they don't like the film, that just means I'm going to like it more. Probably. So, I can't wait to see Aquaman. Comment below. Let me know what you think about the critic reactions. Is this what you wanted? Because this is kind of what I wanted. I wanted it to be, a kind of a polarizing film. I don't want critics to like a DC film. Because they're fucking assholes at the end of the day. They really have no idea what they're talking about. So I could care less what they think. I could care less to hear their fucking fish jokes. Because they've been waiting years to use fish jokes for Aquaman, right? And now they get to use a bunch of fish and water jokes that they've been saving for months, right? But, it is what it is. I'm fine with it completely. I think everybody should be happy. This is great. And, it's a positive on Rotten Tomatoes. That means people are going to go see it opening weekend, no matter what. They're going to see that it's fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. They're going to be like, all right, let's take the family and everything, Because, this is really a make or break thing with a lot of dumb people. They really need something to tell them what to do. And, this is it. But, yeah, that's it for now. Comment below. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye.
I'm going to give the movie 5 bags of popcorn, and I'm going to give the title 0 bags of popcorn, because I think with a better title, you'd have more of an audience.